There's a sound that fills the air in almost every gym, every office, every startup, and every living room where someone is trying to get something done. It's not the sound of effort. It's not the sound of grinding metal or pounding feet. It's the low, persistent hum of complaint. The whine. It's too hard. The timing isn't right. I don't have the resources. They don't appreciate me. If only I had what they have. We've all heard it. Some of us have even been the ones making that sound. And here's the raw, unvarnished truth that no one wants to admit, that whining is the single greatest anchor dragging you to the bottom. So today, I'm giving you a direct order. Stop whining and push. Let's be clear about what whining really is. It's not legitimate analysis of a problem. It's not strategic planning. It's not asking for help. Whining is the act of complaining about a circumstance while taking zero responsibility for changing it. It's pointing a finger at the world, at your boss, at your childhood, at the economy, at the weather, and expecting those things to rearrange themselves for your comfort. Whining is the language of the victim, and victims don't build empires. Victims don't cross finish lines. Victims don't look back on their lives with pride. They look back with a list of excuses. Now, contrast that with pushing. Pushing is the act of applying force against resistance. Pushing is the opposite of passive. Pushing is when your muscles scream and your lungs burn and your mind tells you to quit and you take one more step anyway. Pushing is the sound of a deadline approaching and you choosing to work through the night instead of sending a pity-filled email about why you need an extension. Pushing is the decision to send a proposal even though you're terrified of rejection. Pushing is getting up an hour earlier to study for that certification while everyone else sleeps in and complains about their stagnant career. Why do we whine? Because it's easy, because it gives us a momentary hit of relief. When you complain, your brain releases a small amount of tension. You feel for a second like you've done something. You've identified the problem. You've named the enemy. But that's a trap. The relief is fake. All you've done is externalize your power. Every time you whine about something you cannot immediately control, you hand over your agency. You say to the universe, this thing over here is responsible for how I feel and what I achieve. And the universe, being indifferent, says nothing back. It just watches you shrink. Here's the hard truth about the world. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to make it fair. No one is going to lower the bar because you're tired. The bar doesn't care about your feelings. The mountain doesn't care about your sore feet. The marketplace doesn't care about your difficult childhood. These things are neutral. They simply exist, and they will crush you if you stand in front of them whining instead of pushing. Think about the greatest achievements in human history. Think about the construction of the pyramids. Do you think the workers stopped every afternoon to complain about the heat? Some probably did, and those ones didn't move many stones. The ones who moved stones were the ones who put their shoulders against the rock and pushed. Think about every Olympic gold medal. Behind that medal is a decade of mornings when the athlete woke up sore, injured, exhausted, and every fiber of their being wanted to roll over and complain. But instead, they pushed. They pushed when no one was watching. They pushed when it hurt. They pushed when they had already failed 100 times. You want a more practical example? Fine. Look at any successful entrepreneur. You think they never faced setbacks? They lost funding. They got rejected by investors. Their first product failed. Their second product failed. Their best employees quit. A global pandemic shut down their supply chain. And in every single one of those moments, they had a choice. Whine about the injustice of it all or push. The ones who succeeded didn't have better luck. They didn't have more talent. They simply refuse to waste energy on complaining. They channel every ounce of that frustration into forward motion. I'm not saying you should never feel frustration. I'm not saying you should be a robot. Of course you're going to feel angry, disappointed, scared, exhausted. Those are human emotions. Feel them, acknowledge them, then put them in your pocket and get back to work. There's a difference between feeling something and broadcasting it as an excuse for an action. The person who says, I'm so tired, this is impossible, and then stops is whining. The person who says, I'm so tired, this is impossible, so I'm going to figure out a way to do it tired, is pushing. The feeling is the same. The response is everything. Now, let's get specific about what pushing looks like in real life. If you're unhappy with your job, stop whining about your boss every night at dinner. Update your resume. Learn a new skill. Network. Apply. Push. If you're out of shape, stop complaining about your metabolism or your busy schedule. Put on your shoes, walk out the door, do one push-up, then another tomorrow. Push. If your relationship is struggling, stop whining that your partner doesn't understand you. Initiate the hard conversation. Listen, apologize, change your behavior. Push. In every single domain of life, the solution is the same. Stop talking about what's wrong and start applying pressure to what's next. There's a beautiful simplicity to this philosophy. It eliminates analysis paralysis. It kills perfectionism. It shuts down the endless loop of self-pity. Because when you decide to push, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what one thing can I do right now? That shift is everything. That shift is the difference between a life of regret and a life of momentum. And yes, you will fail. Pushing doesn't guarantee success. You can push with everything you have and still come up short. That's life. But here's the thing that whiners never understand. Even failure looks different when you've pushed. When you've given everything, you don't lie awake at night wondering what if. You don't carry the shame of having quit. You stand up, dust yourself off, and you push again. That's resilience. That's character. That's something no one can take from you. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you hear that whining voice in your head, the one listing all the reasons why you can't, why it's not fair, why you deserve a break, I want you to recognize it for what it is. It's not wisdom. It's not self-care. It's the sound of you giving up before you've even started. Silence that voice. Stand up. Plant your feet. Find the heaviest thing in front of you and push. Push until your lungs give out. Push until your excuses run dry. Push until the only thing left in the world is the simple, brutal, beautiful act of moving forward. Stop whining and push.